something you're proud of. That
Oh,
you did,
heck
right?
no.
So sometimes we...
A one-time assisted living worker. Now she's a convict, and she's not alone.
It's an NBC 26 investigation. Tonight, the story of people who worked at assisted living homes here in Northeast Wisconsin getting convicted, accused of targeting those they were there to help. A police report says family of a resident set up a spy camera to see what was going on inside a Wapaka County assisted living home. Court paperwork says a man was missing money. The suspect was an employee. This video shows someone opening a drawer. We'll speed it up here until that person leaves. The suspect in the case was Mary Reek. Here's the tape of her talking with police after she was arrested.
What I did was not right.
Okay.
I admit that. I admit it.
The then executive director at Astor Assisted Living in Clintonville wrote that the man who was stolen from is a war veteran who needs almost total care for his daily needs.
It's devastating.
Julie Button talked in general about cases like the ones in this report. She works for the state, an advocate for the elderly in long-term care.
They're dependent on the people who are taking care of them, and that can put a person in a situation that feels very vulnerable.
Back to Mary Reek in Clintonville.
All those times that you went into, it adds up to about $381.
I can't believe that. But the camera doesn't lie.
Records say that Reek pleaded guilty in March to misdemeanor theft in the case. She declined an interview for this story. We left a message for management at Astor Assisted Living. We have not heard back.
A sentencing hearing today.
Now to a different case.
You victimize some very unfortunate people. The people that are in that position, Mr. Santos, expect someone to be of good character, and they trust those people. You violated that trust, and that's really unfortunate.
Before that moment in court, Catherine De Los Santos talked with us.
I am truly sorry for my actions and my wrongs.
Court paperwork says she worked at Hampton Manor in Howard. In De Los Santos' case, a woman wrote that her mother's wedding ring was among what went missing. Cash, too. De Los Santos says she stole because she was in a controlling relationship and because of drugs. Crack.
Every day I think of what I did, and, it's crushing.
She was sentenced last month after pleading no contest to misdemeanor theft in the case. She was also sentenced in other cases on the same day. Overall, a judge sentenced her to 1.5 years in prison. De Los Santos already had a record, a drug fraud conviction. Court records show that conviction was 15 months before the theft in this case began. Management at Hampton Manor declined to comment.
If you had a grandmother in an assisted living facility, would you want someone with a drug fraud conviction caring for that grandmother?
No. When I look at my grandparents or whatever, if I did that to them, I would be crushed.
Then, in a different case, there's Laura Wartick, a history of convictions including theft and forgery. In a case filed last year, court paperwork says she worked at Cottonwood Manor in Green Bay and used a resident's personal account information. In that case, she was sentenced last November to 1 year in jail after pleading no contest to felony misappropriate ID info. Wartick declined to comment. We called Cottonwood Manor for comment and have not heard back. If you're wondering if someone with a criminal history can get and keep a job as a caregiver at an assisted living home in Wisconsin, they can. There's a list of convictions that we usually disqualify someone under state law, but theft and fraud are not on that list. Background checks are required for caregivers when they're hired and then every 4 years. As for what happens next for the convicts in this story, they're now on what's called the Caregiver Misconduct Registry. Unless they get an exemption, they are barred from getting a job as a caregiver at a state-regulated facility like an assisted living home.